All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing another beer from Hop Butcher for the World, and they're out of Chicago, Illinois, and this is their All Sides Are Green. So they're calling this one a Nelson Sauvin, Simcoe and Riwaka-hopped Double IPA. Comes in at 8.5% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review. This can is approximately 3.5 weeks old. I'm going to give a huge thanks and shout out once again to Hop Butcher for this beer. So big thanks to them. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail video I did that contains all the goodies they hooked me up with, and I'm excited about this one for a couple of reasons. Number one, the hop bill is quite interesting. Nelson, Simcoe, and Riwaka. Not sure if I had that trio of hops in a hop-forward beer before. And on top of that, this is an 8.5% double IPA from them. Typically, most of their double IPAs are 7.5%. Sometimes you'll get an 8% one. I don't think I've ever had an 8.5% double IPA from them. If I have, maybe one or two, but it's very rare. So really excited about this one. So let's crack it open, get in the glass, see what we got going on. So yeah, see if the 8.5% matters when it comes to Hop Butcher. We'll see. I don't know. Pour it into the hashtag proper glassware, and we'll spill it everywhere because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing most of the time. It's good stuff. You know what? This happened to me recently on a review, and I like stopped it and went and got all the paper towels, and I was like, I'm gonna have paper towels so when I spill a beer, I can clean it up. Nah, fuck me. Terrible at beer tubing. Anyway, got it all over my hands. Whatever. It is what it is. So it pours out this really nice orange, yellow color, like a honey orange color, a little bit of yellow mixed in, about a 2-finger off-white. Really nice looking head. I wouldn't say necessarily creamy or soap sudsy, kind of somewhere in between. Looks fine. Anyway, let's get a nose. Ooh. All right, so I'm getting like a little, now I typically with Nelson, I get like white grapes. Sometimes people get like white wine. I'm getting like a white wine kind of dryness. But there's a really ton of like tropical fruit here. Tropical and stone fruit. There's pineapple. There's honeydew melon. What was that? Lychee? I'm going to say lychee. You know why I'm going to say lychee? Because I've never had a lychee, but I've had beers that have said you should be smelling lychee and has this kind of aroma. So I'm going to say there's lychee in here, even though there's not because it's hops. There's orange, there's grapefruit, a lot of grapefruit actually. Sweeter, ruby red grapefruit, pink grapefruit. Grapefruit with a little bit of sugar on it. Wow, this is all over the place. There's a slight like herbaceous kind of dankness. You know what it smells like? It smells like underripened tropical fruit, like in a generic like underripened, like there's a greenness to this that isn't necessarily like a hop burn or an astringency in the nose, but it just has like a green kind of slight vegetal matter in the nose. It smells pretty good though. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Hop Butcher. It's real fucking tasty. Buying this on the higher side of medium, lower side of full, 8.5%. Yes, the mouthfeel. Maybe a little bit more carbonated than I'm accustomed to with their double IPAs. But it has a really nice, smooth, creamy sensation. Not really super soft, but nice. Glass lacing is fantastic. Taste. There's a shit ton of tropical and stone. More leaning towards tropical. There's overripened sweet honeydew melon. There's pineapple. There's lychee. A little bit more of like a white grape, kind of like sweeter, like crushed white grape. Like a real juicy, like you just popped a white grape in your mouth and you just bit into it, like that kind of a juicy white grape explosion. Once again, on the nose, I get more white wine kind of like dryness. That hits me up front. Right after that, substantial pink grapefruit, sweeter orange, but that pink like ruby red grapefruit thing, very noticeable. Yeah, really nice. Halfway through the palate though, this beer goes from all that juicy fruity goodness and just turns into this really nice green, dank, earthy kind of monster. It finishes moderately moderately. I wanted to say dry and bitter, but I said by. Moderately by. Spelled B-Y, by the way. Now, it's moderately bitter with a semi-dry kind of finish. This is a hop forward beer from Hop Butcher that actually has a nice bitterness to it. It's not rare or anything from Hop Butcher, and I always appreciate that. I like a little bit more bitterness nowadays from my juicy New England style IPAs and double IPAs. 8.5%. I can tell it's bigger. I'd guess like 8 if I was doing this blind. A little bit of warming chest into the stomach, nothing on the palate, but it just feels like a bigger beer. So 8.5 makes sense. This was really nice. It's not blowing me away. I like the complexity here, but I think there's almost too much going on for me to give it like a crazy high score, but I really like it. On the back of the palate, there's like this earthy, dank, herbaceous, almost like basil thyme thing. And it's ramping up the bitterness every single time I take a sip of it. So let me pour the rest in here. Hopefully don't spill any more on the table. I already lost like a half ounce of it, or maybe a full ounce. Don't need to lose more, if you know what I mean. So let me go one more sip and we'll give it a rating. Stuck between two scores. And I'll tell you the two scores because a lot of times I don't. I'm stuck between a high 4.25 and a low 4.5. One more sip and then I'm going to make a final decision. I'm going to go for all sides are green. I'm going to give this a high 4.25. I'm going to go 4.35. Almost gets in the low 4.5. What would get in the low 4.5? I don't know. That's how I'm feeling. I was debating between a 4.35 or a 4.4. Regardless, it's a 0.05 difference. Just let it be known this is a good beer. What I like about this is that moderate bitterness on the back of the palate, that semi-dry finish. It balances it out. A lot of times these beers can just be juice bombs and sweeter double IPAs and whatnot, and I don't think that this beer falls into that trap because it has that moderate bitterness. It's really nice. And I like that the bitterness isn't just generic, because a lot of times I'll get a generic bitterness. A lot of times the finish won't turn into that bitterness or dryness. With this, it has that herbaceous dankness and an earthy component that just translates well into that moderate bitterness. Yeah, so 4.35 out of 5. Regardless, it's fucking a great beer. So if you've had this one before, let me know what you think about price and availability. I don't know, actually, with this. I think it was a friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Ross, who basically broke down the pricing, and he said pretty much there's 6.5% IPAs into their 7.5% double IPAs. They're kind of similar priced, like they're 15, 16 bucks 4-pack. What is an 8.5% double IPA from them? Is this a little bit higher? Is this closer to their triple IPAs where it's $18 to $19 a 4-pack, or is this in the 15, 16 range? Regardless if this is 16 bucks or 18 or 19 bucks, I would pay $20 4-pack for this all day. And if this got into distribution, you're probably looking at $5 a can. So I'm fine with whatever the cost is if it's 20 bucks or less. The availability, I'm just going to keep on saying this with Hop Butcher. If you really want it, you can find it. Whether you go to an online web store, we get a couple different online sites like Craft Shack, for instance. You can find some of their offerings there, and a lot of places are seeing distro their stuff, including here in Buffalo, New York. We've had like 3 or 4 drops from them, so I think the distro is just going to go up. They have a couple of new facilities opening this year, and yeah, it's Hop Butcher. They make great stuff. Almost forgot the tasting notes. Let's do it. Fresh tropical all day long. They nailed that one. Pleasant dank. Yes, I said more of like an herbaceous, dank, kind of earthy quality, but yes, and juicy grapefruit. Yeah, 3 for 3. They a lot of times with Hop Butcher, when I look at the tasting notes, I usually get at least one of them. Sometimes I'll get 2. Rarely do I get 3. They fucking nailed that for what I'm tasting, 100%. That like ruby red kind of, they say fresh, yeah, juicy kind of grapefruit note. Unmistakable. It's definitely there, and it's right after all that good tropical fruit goodness. I will say this. I think the one thing, and now I'm sipping on it, I'm glad I gave it a 4.35. I'm getting a little bit of hop burn in the back of the throat as I continue to drink on this. Very mild, but it's kind of ramping up a little bit of a burn in the throat. 3.5 weeks old, a little bit of hop burn. So I'm glad I gave it a high 4.25 as opposed to a low 4.5. Does anyone care? Fucking no, they don't. Also, 8.5%, like I said, warming in the chest and the stomach. I kind of know it's a bigger beer, but it's not like, you can taste the alcohol in the palate. It's fine. Anyway, If you've had this one before, again, post in the comment section. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here in the Beer Patrol. Hopefully when you pour this beer, if you've had this beer, you don't spill like a half ounce of it because you're not terrible at beer tubing and pouring beers. So hopefully. Anyway, cheers.